most of the business owners that I work with, they didn't start their business just because they thought, oh, this is going to make a lot of money. They started it because it's something that they cared about, and it grew into what it was. So yes, like most people that I work with do have some sort of emotional attachment. Unfortunately, we see a lot of people who call because they have to sell because someone is sick or, something like that comes up. And to your point of what's next, I think it's really important to plan ahead. Even if you don't want to sell your business right now, or you don't know when you want to sell your business, but having some sort of exit plan of what will I do after this? What do I want to do?
All righty. Well, welcome back to the Remember You podcast, the place where we peel back the layers to reclaim parts of ourselves that we have abandoned and remember who we really are beneath the noise. I am so glad that you are here today. And whether it's your first time tuning in or your ninth, you've made it back. Welcome home. Today's episode speaks to every founder, dreamer, and doer who has poured their soul into something and now feels the pull to move on. So whether you are years from exiting or just starting to wonder what comes next, this conversation will speak to the human side of legacy. Our guest today, Christine Wilkerson, is a business broker, entrepreneur, and former chiropractor who helps people sell their life's work with integrity and clarity. She co-owns First Choice Business Brokers in Naperville and works with the small to medium-sized business owners to navigate the deeply personal process of selling. From operational strategy to emotional closure, she's here to help us understand what's really involved when it's time to let go. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
I guess we would just want to start off with a story of how you came to want to help people be ready to sell their business and why and what experience you had.
Yeah, maybe even going back, because that's like an interesting journey. So chiropractor to where you are here. Let's hear how we got there.
Okay, yeah. So for over 10 years, 12 years, I believe, I practiced as a chiropractor. Moved all over the country, owned practices, worked in practices. And then most recently in the chiropractic world, I managed 20 clinics in Illinois operationally. So for the first time, I wasn't actually working on patients. I was working on the business. So I was doing the hiring, the coaching, the financials, all of it. And I realized how much I loved it. And it was really exciting, I think, for me to find a new challenge, something that was a learning curve for me. And then also personally, I owned a business that a chiropractic clinic that was like highly successful, but we had to move fairly quickly. And I had no idea what to do. So I closed it. And now I wish that I knew what to do. And so it's very exciting when I came upon this opportunity that now I'm able to help people know what to do, because most people like me own a business in something that they just feel passionate about, but they have no idea what to do when they need to exit. So
the origin story is successful business and had to get rid of it quick because you didn't have the tools or the guidance or resources to be able to either sell it or do something to really prosper from all the work that you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wish that I had stumbled upon myself back then to have someone guide me through it, because I'm sure I could have figured it out if I had the bandwidth to research and all of that. But I was deep in like young kids and moving across the country, and I didn't have the bandwidth to figure it out. And I've talked to Michelle about this. I'm a big fan of finding people who are experts in something and going to them. And so that is now what I do. I help people who are really good at what they do, and I guide them through figuring out what their business is worth and what it looks like to transition out and sell.
Yeah, it's really, I think, call it the hack to success. If you want to speed up and get successful in something, it's hire somebody who's at the level that you want to be at or achieve at. So, what got you into chiropractic care? So I feel like this is such a common chiropractic story, but I had a
really bad accident when I was 16. I crashed a jet ski. I was kind of an adrenaline junkie kid.
You're in good company.
So I crashed a jet ski and I was 16 and I went through all the things. I was in PT. By the time I was graduating, I was getting like injections in my neck and
Oh my God.
I was given muscle relaxers and it was just kind of crazy being so young. And I was going to all of the things and all the places that our doctors were telling us to do. And I was still in a lot of pain. And then it wasn't until I went to college that I went to a chiropractor for the first time. Actually wanted to be a lawyer at that time. And I remember after I walked out of that appointment, I was like, first I felt relief. And then I felt a little anger because I was like, no one told me. Like, no one told me that this was an option. I had no idea. You don't know what you don't know. So that was the moment when I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do because I want to give people their life back. And also I want to be a part of spreading awareness that there are other options. So
it seems to be a trend. We just had a guest on a previous episode where it was like going the Western medicine route to be able to solve something and it just fell short. And then what got you introduced to chiropractic care? Like what was it just like you've tried everything and then at this point you're looking elsewhere to think outside the box or what was it?
I am dating myself. I was reading the newspaper, like a physical paper in college, very proud of myself. And I saw an advertisement and I was like, that sounds great. Like, let's try. I was like, are you in pain? I'm like, yes. Yes. Thank you for asking. So that was it. I just tried and I really felt like it was really just, I had no awareness that was really even an option. And so I just made an appointment and I went and that's why I was so frustrated that I had spent years doing all of these other things. The fact that I was being like 18, given muscle relaxers and injections before that. But luckily now it seems to be a lot more mainstream. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Very good. So
how did you build your chiropractic practice to be successful? What did you implement systems? What can you share with like the listener?
Yeah. I think that, well, first of all, I worked with a lot of really great people first. So I learned a lot from others because the business side is, not really what you learn in grad school. So I think that the first thing that I did that was really good was worked with people who were really good at business because I was really good at taking care of patients. And then when I left and I started my own practice, marketer, spent no money on marketing, actually. My practice was 100% referral based. And I think that, just results speak for themselves. And also I think that, when you change other people's lives, they just tell people about it. And so that was a big part of what made me successful, I think, was just giving my all to the patients and then implementing business strategies that I saw in other practices. Side note, for all of those early in business, having good bookkeeping from the beginning is key, especially when you decide to sell. So doing all of that in the beginning, I think, was really helpful for me.
Nice.
So people running their own business have to be aware of their profit and loss, and a bookkeeper can keep track of that monthly, correct? That's what you're wanting.
Yeah. So I get a lot of people who call, and it's completely fine if this is speaking to any of you, but a lot of people who call, and I do valuations on their business. So I look at their financials from typically the last 3 years and tell them what their business would be worth in the market today. And for that, I need like 3 years of P&Ls, 3 years of tax statements. And I've realized probably about 30 to 40% of small business owners don't have those items readily available. And so you don't even necessarily have to hire a bookkeeper or a CPA. I think it's great if you can. Just starting out using QuickBooks is a great thing to have, and really just keep your business expenses and revenue separate from your personal. And that is a great start. But then obviously having a good bookkeeper or CPA is a really good goal to have.
I feel like that's oftentimes what people say is the best first hire.
Yeah.
If you can, if you can do that. Okay. So this is such an interesting trajectory. I'm like so excited to see how you got to where you are today. So got out of chiropractic school, finished that, started your own practice, super successful. Then you had life going on, small children, move across the country, not really time and resources to figure out a proper exit to where you can actually sell it. So you closed the business down, maybe sent your folks to other chiropractors you knew in the area.
Yeah.
And then now fast forward to what you're doing today. So give us a little more about that. And I see here that you describe kind of what you're doing as matchmaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go into that.
So I moved here from California in 2019, but my family, we're originally from the Midwest. We just moved back for when our youngest was going to start kindergarten. We wanted to be back in the Midwest, but the joke was on me because it was 2020 and there was no kindergarten.
Oh, geez.
But so that's what brought us back here. And I did practice in Naperville for 2 years. And then I moved on to a new company where I was managing a group of clinics here. And that's where I really got into the business side of things.
Or the operation?
The operations, yeah. Yep. So I was doing the hiring, the strategy, how to reduce costs, how to increase revenue. Wow. Kind of like owning a small business, except for I didn't own it.
Right. Which is kind of awesome.
Yeah. So it was really cool. I learned a lot, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And then my husband does something very similar. And when he would work at home, I would listen. And I was like, super intrigued. And I think I'm just a lifelong learner. I enjoy learning. So, I went from practicing to managing operations of a group of clinics. And then this opportunity came up. My husband has been in actual business for a long time, and his friend is a business broker in California. And when they were talking about it, I was like, that sounds awesome. And that's really where we got introduced to it. So we bought this business in fall of last year.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really just, dove in and talk about being a lifelong learner. This is a lot. I mean, it was a lot to learn, and it was exciting and challenging, and I'm really happy I did it.
Before we get into the actual tactics of this, I want to know, how do you like working with your husband?
Everyone asks that, and I love it.
I actually often hear that more than anything.
I really love it. But as you see, I'm not with him right now. So I think it's fun, but I do get to call him and just say stuff like, hey, can you take that 12 o'clock call for me? Or did you see my email?
Per my last email, babe.
Let's circle back.
Yeah. I love that.
I do actually really enjoy working with him. And I feel like it's just brought a new level of excitement to our relationship too. Awesome. Where we're learning new stuff together. And
that's awesome.
It's great.
That's great. So I guess a great transition is to talk about, so you guys are working with all types of businesses?
Privately held businesses.
Okay.
So small, medium-sized businesses. Yeah, we sell all kinds of businesses.
Give me an example of the last, maybe 3 types of businesses that you worked with.
A college planning company. So, they do help with everything from figuring out how to fill out the FAFSA to essay writing. They have financial planners, college admissions, the whole gamut. Have a kid going to college, that's a company that you call to support you through the process. We have painting companies. We have a power washing company, working with currently hoping to get listed soon, a company that does after school enrichment activities in the public school systems, the activities that are held at the school, all kinds.
So it's really there's no specific niche. It's just that the niches that they're privately held in small to medium. So it's really open to helping all types of folks.
And are they usually in the Naperville, Chicagoland area, or no?
Anywhere in Illinois.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I can sell anywhere in Illinois. And it doesn't have to be here. We do most of our stuff virtually, DocuSign. I mean, it's, thank God, but, I do enjoy meeting people in person when possible, but it's absolutely not necessary. And like my college planning business is nationwide. So we can have a buyer from anywhere in the country or even out of the country buy the business. So yeah, any business that's in Illinois we can sell as long as it's not like a publicly traded company.
This is amazing. Okay, so let's go even to more basic level from the like small business owner that wants to sell.
Mm-hmm.
What are the basic tips on preparing for a future sale? Like where would you tell somebody to begin? They like really have no idea, like this is what you do step one.
Yeah. I think step one is, like we talked about earlier, reach out to someone who can walk you through the process. Ideally me, but really any business broker. And then, like we touched on earlier, make sure that you're getting your financials organized, because the first thing that we do is a valuation to figure out what your business would be worth. To decide if you want to sell now, if you want to sell later. Step one, what is it worth? But in order to do that properly, having clean financials is really helpful. So whether it's QuickBooks or if you have a CPA, working with some sort of software is ideal.
So I'm just thinking of a handful of entrepreneur friends I have that are making crazy money, but I know they're growing at a rate that's like their back end of business needs time to catch up. So say they reach out to you, they're like, I'm making, $1 million a month, but like we're, our paperwork is a hot mess. Like, can you help? Can we start working with you while we're getting this ready? Or is this something that, is that like a kind of the hand holding process?
Yep, absolutely. And we, depending on what the mess looks like, I can help or I refer to a CPA who, I have a few who they know that, we work together and I'll send them to them and they'll help them, go through all their bank statements or whatever it is that they do have and make it into something that I could actually put in front of a potential buyer. So
very cool. Just want to make sure I didn't exclude anybody. So I know it's not always perfect in the small business world behind the scenes.
It is not.
So after kind of getting set up then with financials, we mentioned kind of in the introduction we were talking about there's this really huge emotional component to this process. Do you tell us more about that? It's kind of, you're smiling because it's like kind of the hardest part to working with folks and like kind of how to move through this?
Yeah, I would say it varies. Some people are just very business and it's not, they're not as picky about who takes over after them. And then some other people do care a lot about who takes over their business because it is like their baby and their passion project. And they want to make sure that the person who comes in is going to, ideally, can't guarantee run it similarly to how they did or how they do, or, make sure that they're treating their employees well and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of conversations that I have with sellers about that. Some things you can control, some things you can't control. And, we talk through what you can control, what you can control. So.
Well, Christina, do you have any thoughts or any comments to add about that process? Because I know that was kind of something you went through before in the process of selling your business, that it was really your baby, is something you put all of your energy into, and transitioning, was a lot of emotions.
Well, first and foremost, I'll definitely say that you need to find somebody if you're going to, even if you think that you're going to sell your company or you're just wondering what is it worth or whatever, you absolutely need to talk to somebody, Christine preferably, but somebody like her, because I didn't. And that's what this whole thing, right? This is why we started this podcast, was to help people understand, what did I do wrong that I'm now hoping that somebody listening will do right? And so for me, it was this unknown process. A friend introduced me to the buyer. I wasn't even thinking of selling my company. And all of a sudden this whole relief of, okay, let's do this. Let's sell my company, because then I can get acquired and work with somebody who has the technology. Because I did do your thing. I had a really great CPA. I kept track of everything. I knew by client what was bringing in the most money, what client had the best profit, all of that. Like I knew, and then that's how we figured out where to spend your time, right? So that's really important. I second that. But for me, I just didn't know what I didn't know. So I had a lawyer, a business lawyer. I had friends telling me, helping me. And now, if looking back, I wish I had somebody like you that would have said like, okay, let's look at other people and other options instead of this one. I did have somebody come in at like the last second that was like, wait, don't sign the papers. Like we're gonna, and I was already so far down and invested that I was like, no, this is the way I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that, I probably could have gotten a better deal. I probably, there could have been other things, but you don't live in the past. You just move on, right?
Mm-hmm.
From an emotional standpoint, I thought, oh, good, I'm going to have some free time. I'm going to be able to spend time with my kids. Everything's going to be great because I was working 90 hours. And so I was kind of like one of those people you were talking about where I just let it all go.
Mm-hmm.
After the sale, I was having regrets. And that's when I wish I had somebody that could have talked me through some of those things of like, how do you set up after the sale? Because it was my baby. It was my passion project. And I was like having a hard time letting go and watching what was going on. And so if I had somebody to kind of coach me through that and help me reinvent myself faster, I would have done a lot better. It took me too long to reinvent myself.
That's such a great segue too, though. So then like really there's so much identity like associated hand in hand with the business that people are building. Would you say that's like something super common?
Yes, especially with small and medium-sized businesses. Most of the business owners that I work with, they didn't start their business just because they thought, oh, this is going to make a lot of money. They started it because it's something that they cared about, and it grew into what it was. So yes, like most people that I work with do have some sort of emotional attachment. Unfortunately, we see a lot of people who call because they have to sell because someone is sick. Or, something like that comes up. And to your point of what's next, I think it's really important to plan ahead. Even if you don't want to sell your business right now, or you don't know when you want to sell your business, but having some sort of exit plan of what will I do after this? What do I want to do? That way you don't sell your business and then you're like, now what? I have 90 hours a week. Now what do I do? And so planning ahead, because the average business sale takes 6 to 12 months. So it's not like I'm going to list my house and get an offer tomorrow and be out in 3 weeks.
Right. It's a slow process.
It's a process. And so we do business valuation. So we'll, get all the paperwork and tell you what your business would be worth. You don't have to list it right now, but sometimes just having information helps you make decisions, whether right now is the right choice or it's right in a year. But especially if you started from scratch and then you get a valuation and you're like, oh, I have something that's worth a good amount. So planning ahead, I think, is definitely ideal so that you have some idea of what you might want to do next.
It's interesting the way you just said that. Is it common that people don't realize like the level of how high the valuation technically could be, because they just don't realize?
Yeah, because they don't realize. I mean, there are a lot of factors that go into the valuation, whether if you're an owner-operator or if you're absentee, changes the valuation. If you...
what is absentee versus owner-operator?
It means like you're working in the business if you're an owner-operator, so you're working full-time in the business. If you take more than 2 weeks off, the business is going to really struggle without you.
Okay.
Versus being an absentee owner, you might have a business that you check in on and you maybe remotely manage, maybe stop in once a week, but it doesn't depend on you. So you have people who are running the business, you have systems in place.
Goals.
So you can have two very similar businesses. One's owner-operator, one's absentee, and they're going to be valued differently based on a lot of variables like that. So sometimes people are surprised, whether it's good or bad. Sometimes when you're very emotionally attached to something, you may think you're sitting on a gold mine.
I was just
the opposite too, and so it goes both ways. But that's why having a valuation is really important, because it's a number, it's not a feeling.
Yep.
So what makes the business unsellable? Like if someone came to you?
Oh, I say that there is a business for every buyer and a buyer for every business. And that if you want to sell your business, my job is to tell you, look at what you have and tell you what we would need to sell it. A lot of times that is most often going to involve referring you to a CPA to get your papers in order, right? Because I had to feel good about what I'm doing too. I don't want to put your business in front of someone who's interested in buying it and it not making sense, not adding up. The numbers are murky. So I would say, for me as the broker, not having good financials is a deal breaker. But I do think as long as someone is interested in taking advice, that we can get businesses to be sellable. And my computer restarted.
Good sign.
There you go.
I had a question, so in regards to how you have seeked out experts to be able to, enhance whatever it is that you're trying to, or optimize whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's business, health, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have I have a client right now. He hired a consultant to basically turn it from owner operator to absentee.
Yeah.
Right. And do you have a network of consultants? So say I come in and I'm an owner operator and I go, Christine, I want to see what my business is worth, to see what's possible in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine an absentee, depending on, I'm sure, some intricacies,
Mm-hmm.
expenses and things that go along with that, I'm sure. But it would be a more valuable proposition for a lot of buyers, right?
Yeah, they definitely sell faster.
So in that case, is there, say, consultants or a network that you have that you could consult or refer consultants to be able to optimize such a business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Like business efficiency.
Yeah.
And people who help you put systems in place. Because again, myself included, a lot of people start businesses because they're passionate about something, not because they have an MBA and they know how to put the systems in place to turn it into an absentee owner, operator, or operating business. So yeah, we do. We have some good referrals.
So people that get a low valuation don't have to be concerned that they can't put the systems in place and get a higher valuation later if they put those systems in place.
Well, I don't like to guarantee, but in general, a business with systems is going to sell faster and typically for a higher dollar amount than those without systems. Now I tell people all the time, I have a lot of buyers. We have a lot of people who want to buy businesses, but often they're looking for something specific. I have a lot of people like me, moms, who are like, okay, I'm kind of sick of the corporate grind. I would like to, buy a business. And a lot of these women do have a lot of business expertise, and that's what they've been doing in corporate America. And so they are also another great option to come into these businesses. I call them move-in ready or fixer-uppers. What do you want?
Okay.
And they like finding the fixer-uppers because they want to and they enjoy going in and putting systems in place and making things efficient. So I don't always have to refer them out to a business efficiency type of consultant, because some people, I'm working with a buyer right now who that is exactly what she's doing. So she's coming into my fixer-upper and she's going to be able to really scale it and make it amazing.
Oh,
so
that's great.
It's like flipping a house.
Yeah.
In a sense, right?
Yeah.
What's the, I guess, what would be, I know it depends on the business and all those types of things, but what kind of price range are we looking at in regards to somebody who wants to leave the 9-to-5 or the corporate job to invest in such a business that they could eventually, provide us another life for themselves?
Mm-hmm. I think that really depends on that person's financial situation and, their probably long-term plan, because I don't always see people who are probably replacing what they currently have, but maybe seeing potential in something to grow it and get the income that they want eventually. So we sell businesses from, $50,000 to $9-10 million. So it's, it's a big range, and I help everyone. So,
So it gives a lot of opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah.
No matter what side of no matter where you're at.
I have a question about that. So I know you hear a lot of people say they want to buy a laundromat or they want to buy a car wash.
Yes.
And is that realistic? Like you buy it for $50,000 or $100,000 and you just start making revenue or profit and you don't have to really think about it? Or
Well, those businesses are not the $50,000 businesses.
They're higher.
Yeah.
that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Because you hear people talking about it all the time, like, oh, I'm going to buy a laundromat and it's going to.
Yeah. Not that, there are laundromats that are on the lower end, but the $50,000 ones are not laundromats. So, and if they are, they're not like functioning. So, I think that it really depends on what people are looking for. We have people who call and they're like, oh, I'm looking for something bigger or smaller. So, there's a buyer for every business and a business for every buyer, and you just got to find the right thing. So that's my matchmaking.
I love that. Because really you're coming in. So like someone's coming into and they're like, I'm a single mom. This is like what I'm already doing. They give you their life scenario. This is what I have to invest. What would be the best way to go about it? Is that like the type of conversations that you could have versus someone coming in and be like, this is my third business. I want something different. I'm really up for a challenge. Like they can give you all of these factors and what they're looking for. And then you can say like, here's the actual options that would be in the ballpark of what you're looking for.
Yeah. So I have like what I call a buyer profile that I'll send to buyers who are interested in buying a business, and I ask them all the questions.
Got it.
Are you looking for what I call buying yourself a job, where you want to work in the business? A lot of like retirees like doing that, right? Because it gives them something to do. That's their plan for their next chapter. Buy a pet store or something like that, and that's what they want. But I'll ask them on the questionnaire, what are you looking to spend? How are you planning on financing it? Because that will change it a little bit too. Some businesses qualify for small business loans, others don't. And so I gather a lot of information from them before I have a call with them to give them a better idea of what might be a good fit for them, but also lifestyle wise, right? Totally. What do you want your life to look like? Do you want to work in the business? Do you want to manage it from afar? What do you want it to look like?
One other question too, before we move too far past it. So I love systems. I am like such a systems person. I'm a huge believer in EOS, kind of a very popular entrepreneurial, it's called the EOS implementation. There's like integrators and like different things like that. But I'm curious for small business owners listening, saying like, okay, I have to get my systems in order. It's like, what does that even mean? So obviously we got the finances. Like, are you talking about like the operational systems, like the hiring systems? Like what specifically are you referring to, if you could break it down even smaller?
So as far as from a business sales perspective, what buyers see is financials. They want to see organized financials, right? And also, if I'm looking and your expenses just look like you're buying any and everything, maybe systems of like, can I make this, smaller? Do I need all of the things I'm spending money on? Can I, because all those things will also increase your valuation. So really what buyers are looking at is the financials. And then sometimes they will do a visit to the business. And so they'll see
like the reality.
Like when I walk in the door, is your front desk person friendly? Are they greeting me? Are they ignoring me? Are they on their cell phone? So making sure that you have like maybe job duties, like what do people do? What are they responsible for? Anything that you can do to make the business run better. All those things end up adding up and showing up on paper anyways, and in terms of revenue. So
got it. I just didn't know if you had sellers being like, all right, like what is your, onboarding process? Like, do you guys have like an SOP for this? Like,
yes,
do people get that nitty gritty about it? Or are they just like, let me see the money and like,
so buyers, it's very different. Like the woman I'm working with right now who is buying, her background is in corporate America. She has MBA. So she's very interested in those things. Like, I want to see what PowerPoints you're using with your clients. I want to see, what your different revenue streams are. What are your conversion rates? Whereas other people are like, how much are you making and how much are you spending?
Got it. Yeah. No, that's good to know.
And you don't know what you don't know to
and
ask.
obviously, ultimately, like if you want to set yourself up for success, having everything as buttoned up as you can in every single aspect is obviously going to get you, probably put yourself in a better position. But I'm just curious if it's as detailed, but it just sounds like it really depends on the buyer.
It depends on the buyer. And also, like, I like to speak to the people out there who are not business experts, but who own businesses, right? Because that was me at one point. That don't worry about everything being perfect. Please get your financials in order. But outside of that, don't worry about everything being perfect, right? You call us, we'll do a valuation. And if there's any like glaring areas of opportunity, I'll point that out. But like I said, some people are looking for fixer-uppers and some people are looking for move-in ready. If I give you your valuation and you're like, oh, I was hoping it'd be a little bit higher, okay, then maybe I'll refer you to someone to help you implement systems and all of those things and come back in a little while. We'll reevaluate it and see if those things increased your bottom line.
Awesome.
But don't, listen to this and think I have to go and write standard operating procedures for everything.
Well, and that's kind of why I'm asking is like to open the door and say like, don't be afraid. No matter if you're interested in this is like speaking to and calling to, it's like, give Christine a call. It doesn't really matter where you're at the very least, you can guide them into the next, next best steps.
Yes, because like I closed my business and I wish that, that I had someone who would walk me through the process. And so I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of helping people take what they have built and like getting something from that, whether it's helping, fund their retirement or taking a year off before they decide what they need to do next or whatever they want to use that money for. But getting something from their life's work, not just closing up shop because everything's not perfect. So.
Okay.
That's amazing. Well, I kind of wanted to move into the next part here, which is kind of more about legacy. So if you've helped so many people close this chapter with grace and, you're really helping, you're doing a lot of different things. You're not only on the tactical aspect, but you're really like coaching people and giving them, guidance on how to work through moving into this next chapter of their life. So in that perspective, what does legacy mean to you?
Yeah, I think that to me, it would mean leaving something for who comes after me. And so not just spending my life working and then being done, but passing it on to my kids, whether it's financial or everything. So that's what legacy really means to me. It means that what I'm working on outlives me in some aspect.
That's amazing. Do you find that that's pretty common with the people you work with? Or is it pretty 50-50? They just like want to be done with it or?
I think it's 50-50. Something that I find very interesting is a lot of business owners, I think, don't plan ahead because they just think that their kids want their business. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of times they don't. And that can be very hard for parents to hear, that their kids don't want to take over the family farming business or whatever it is that they do. And even if it is like a great, financial thing.
My dad had an industrial hinge like distributor business.
And you didn't take that over?
And it was like a cash cow and like this super like amazing business for like 25 years. And it was like, it never dawned on me that he would think I would want. But then it got to this point when I was in the college and it was like, all right, so like, are you going to think about buying this? And I was like, I'm in marketing and I'm like into art. Like, I don't know like anything about this. And it was like, it's exactly what you're saying. And like, we're so close, so it's fine. But it was just like interesting to me how like he was so shocked by that. I'm like, Dad, like literally, what?
Like we talked about, people are emotional about what they've built.
Yeah.
And so it can be hard for people to think like, oh, you don't want my hinge business?
Yes.
Like, this is amazing. And so that's part of the legacy, right? Is don't just assume that your kids are going to want to take it over. Have those conversations and plan ahead. Because like I said, a lot of people call when someone is sick or in a situation that is, unfortunate. And then you have to sell fast, then you don't get what you could get if you planned ahead and talked to your kids and found out if they wanted your hinge business or not.
Listen, hinges have a purpose, and you know what? Maybe they're sexy in some people's reality, but wasn't for me. Love you, Dad. Hopefully you don't listen to this. Well, before we move past that
I got a
with legacy, go for it.
Something with legacy, because you talked about your kids and how you're raising them is not to do a job just for a job as a means to an end, but an alignment with all that. So it kind of leads into the aspect of what you want to be doing with your business is alignment in terms of like, what does that legacy look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or whatever it is. So how does that, like what you do professionally, align with what you do personally with your kids and your family, your husband? Like, can you speak on that? How that, because I look at this and I wrote down dot connector. Like, I think all of us are able to connect all sorts of dots from all over the place where many people wouldn't connect them. You can see the connections, right? Being a chiropractor, you had to do that too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So how does that kind of intertwine the personal and professional in your life, and how that pertains to not only the listeners who should be thinking about this to build their own legacy, but also with your clients?
Yeah. What I think of when you say that is how people's values change over time. And like what I thought I wanted when I graduated high school is not the same thing I want now. And that when you start your business, it may be exactly what you want, but then your values change. And by values, I mean like, what is the most important thing to you? Is it, there are stages where making money might be the most important thing to you. There are stages where spending time with your family might be the most important time or thing to you at the time, or, your health. I'm going to take a step back from this grind so that I can pour more into my health. And so people's values change, and that's okay. But like for me personally, my values changed, and, having to go into a clinic every day and get home after my kids were sleeping, it just wasn't serving me and my family anymore. And so, that's okay. It's okay for one door to close and open another door and move on to a new chapter. And, I get to help business owners do that too. So if you are doing something that you once loved, but it's no longer serving your highest value, it's okay to move on and do something that does serve you, and, plan ahead and sell your business. And what's really cool is not just helping the seller, but also buyers, right? Like sometimes people are coming in and they're like I was, right? Like, I'm a mom. I just want to spend more time with my kids, and buying this business and leaving this, other job that I have where I had to work 12-hour shifts is going to allow me to do that. So you're helping one person sell and, fulfill their dream where they are, but then you're also helping other people fulfill their dreams. And I think it's really exciting. We're selling our painting company right now to a woman who's doing something along those lines. And it's just so cool for me to see.
It's like you're really, it's like creating win-win situations.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, that's really exciting. I actually related to that. I built a marketing agency. When I started, I was at 27 and I built it to 6 figures within a year, and continued to scale. But it got to that point as well, even though it's a very, very small business, it was still like kind of becoming a regular, like a little bit of a cash cow. But I got sick and from the stress in my body, like I had like a huge breakdown. It got to the point where I was just like, I didn't know how to get any other help, and my values changed.
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting. Even I wish I would have even known that maybe something at that, even if it's that small, it still was structured enough that I could have, sold it, because all I saw it is like, I need to slowly start letting all the clients go and transition into something more aligned.
Yep.
Which is just really interesting
because there's probably someone out there who buying your business would have been fulfilling their dream.
Exactly. Whereas like to me, I'm like, this is like, it's not my thing anymore.
Yeah.
And you feel bad about it. I felt guilty about it. So I was just like, I worked so hard to get it up and going. And then it was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like getting sick, which just wasn't managing my stress well and whatnot. But.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's a lot of people who call are people who are like having health issues and have to quit. But a lot of people don't want to start a business from scratch or don't know how, or it's too intimidating. So a business, in general, of course, there's always outliers, but isn't too small to sell because there are more people who are able to buy a cheaper, smaller business than, the bigger businesses that we get. The pool of people who can buy that is smaller.
Oh, it's making me sad. Yeah.
What you left behind.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I have a question. So I'm super passionate about kids following their passion. So I was in recruiting for a really long time. And I saw like a lot of parents pushing their kids into engineering because we always recruited engineers, right? And we'd ask the kids like, why'd you go into engineering? Well, my parents made me. So do you ever see parents saving money so that they can, with their child, explore purchasing a business in lieu of going to college and spending that money that, they might have spent $200,000-$300,000 on college they're spending on a business? Is that something you're seeing as a trend or no?
That is such a great question. Honestly, the answer is no. But what I have seen recently is the kids are the potential buyers, but the parents are on the calls with them. And I think it's super cool because
So awesome.
they're young, early 20s, mid 20s, and they're looking at that. But they're looking at it through the lens of like, what I want my life to look like.
Yeah.
Which, I figured out at 40. So that's pretty cool. So I have seen that. And I did talk to, I don't want to say a kid because he wasn't a kid. He was like 25 who was, looking into one of my businesses for sale. And the college planning business. And he said, is there anything in the college planning business that gives more info on like trades or more routes or education for people who maybe the traditional 4-year college isn't for them? And I was like, no, but that is the great thing about a new set of eyes coming into a business is that you can take what is already there and expand it because you're looking at it with fresh eyes. And so,
And no emotional attachment either because you're coming in and just, thinking of it more creatively.
It's not this is how I've always done it, so I'm going to keep doing it. So I have seen things like that. And I love seeing young people, looking into entrepreneurship and thinking more big picture.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
I want to go back to what Hope was talking about with the marketing business she had. So with her feeling stress and not wanting to do it anymore, she could have possibly maybe been hiring employees to operate that business. That's something.
Yeah, exactly. So, you have a lot of options at that point.
Right.
You could hire people and try to get the business running without you if you want to keep it, or you could, decide to sell it at that time. Hate talking about the past. Though.
No,
But yeah.
Look what you could have done.
I know.
Damn it.
No regrets.
Just
It's
other
fine.
people that have this
Yes.
situation because they don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just hire an employee.
Yep.
And get the stress off me. Because that's a lot of solo practitioners or solo employees that are doing everything. And they don't even think, I got all this money. Why don't I just hire someone to help me?
Yeah. Actually, I just had a call with a guy who owns a marketing company, and it's just him. He doesn't want to sell right now, but we had the exact same conversation.
Yeah.
Well, plan ahead. What do you want it to look like? Do you want to keep it and like oversee it? And if so, you have to think about how you're gonna do that. Bringing people on, onboarding. How do you want it to look and plan it out? Or do you want to leave? And when do you want that to happen? When do you want to sell? So there are a lot of options, but just knowing what your options are.
I mean, that's where I wanted to bring that up was just because at that point in time, I felt so isolated. I was like completely on my own. Like I was barely seeing even friends and family. Like I was like, every like romantic relationship was like, nope, falling apart. And it was like, because I was just like, my life was that and work. But I had no idea how to even, I thought I had to be making $10 million a year for anyone to even buy it. I had just this like ridiculous perception, even though I didn't even think that I could even Google because my little business, it was such a tiny business in my mind. I'm not Layla Hormozy. Like I can't, I can't sell this unless it's that. So it's just really interesting to hear that you could really begin this conversation at a very small, annual revenue or, monthly cash in and out.
And that kind of goes to another question I have. Does every company you work with, do they have to be profitable?
Oh, that's a good question. To sell, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can still reach out and we can talk, but it would be more of like a forward planning. It doesn't have to be highly profitable, but the valuation is based on that. So, yeah.
I think that's a perfect segue into our rapid fire question.
Yes.
Thoughts?
Awesome.
I just wanted to bring up one thing that I'm noticing here, and this is just kind of a reminder of remember you as everybody has associated or identified with burnout in some way, right? All of us in one way or another, which caused us to change. You had that experience yourself, right?
Yeah.
It seems like, in my experience, the two biggest factors in burnout are personal relationships, not only with themselves, but very close, whether it's family or otherwise, but then it's also business, like corporate world, getting burnt out or running a business. But I know a lot of people who have the ability to invest into something, but they don't even know this is an option, which I just want to make a call out. Like, this is a good opportunity just to see what's possible. As you mentioned, buyers, connecting buyers to sellers, connecting buyers to businesses. Like, this is something that doesn't seem like it's a Googleable, that's a word, thing. Googleable.
Listen, this is 2025. It's ChatGPT, baby.
Create the word.
Google's so
Google's
yesterday.
so old. Goodbye.
GPT that?
Yeah.
To get myself to show up on ChatGPT.
Let me ask Chat.
Perplexity.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's super interesting. Like the woman I was talking about who's leaving corporate America, she originally called to talk about the painting company that we had. And now she's likely going to buy a different company that we had. But just having a conversation, right? I was like, doesn't sound like this is the best fit for you. We also have something else. You want to hear about it? And she was like, oh, that's so exciting. But yeah, for her, it is really cool because she has young kids. And she was like, I'm not seeing them and I'm exhausted. And so it is definitely an option for people. And business ownership isn't for everyone, but it is exciting to see people doing what they think is best for themselves, in their body. My little sister actually called me today and she was like, is it bad? She works in a hospital. She was like, is it bad of me if I ask to take a leave of absence because I'm so burnt out? And I was like, no, like you should, if you think that's what you need, you should absolutely do that. If you're able to do that, like take care of yourself,
I think that's actually a really huge foundation of like why we wanted to start this conversation, because there's like this almost societal construct in narrative being told to all of us that like working hard to the point of exhaustion is like some badge of honor, when in reality, like that is kind of like a lie that's being sold to us. The people that are the happiest and most fulfilled and ultimately even most successful in their businesses are prioritizing their health, mental well-being, and all these things. So I hate that she even was like, is it bad? Because it's like, no.
And I think, I do think that there's like a misinformation out there about people. Like a lot of times people think like business owners, they can make their own schedule and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can do that. But I think also you can do that in companies too. There's ways to work with the hospital to take some time off. Yeah. There's ways to ask for help. There's ways to receive help. And, that's no matter what your situation is, whether you're a business owner or you're working for a company or a hospital or you're a stay-at-home mom, there's all these options for you that I think, need to be heard so that people can utilize those. And so whatever your life is, take that time for yourself and make that, I don't like to call work-life balance, but make that balance work for you in the way that you need it to work. Because I don't, I just think that a lot of people think they're stuck where they are, wherever they are.
Well, and it's like you were saying, it's like you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I think the goal of this entire podcast and conversations that we have with guests and just within ourselves is just like opening your mind and remaining curious as to like, okay, this isn't working for me. And like, what else is out there?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like our intention of this conversation is bringing in amazing people like you. You're helping change people's lives by, you know, going through this process and making it so much less stressful. I mean, buying a business could mean generational wealth. And then when you're in that phase, then you go to Michelle. And then when you need your body fixed, and then you go to Justin.
And then when you need your mind fixed, you go to Hope.
There you go. I love that. Yes. Awesome.
I like to, one of my favorite quotes ever is what you aren't changing, you're choosing. And I'm a big proponent of you're in control of your life and you get to design a life that you love. So, you know, obviously there are things that are not as easy to change and so forth. But just in general, if you're not happy with something, you know, look into what you need to do to change it. Because, you know, I made a big career change at 40. So, and I couldn't be happier.
That's amazing. All right, rapid fire.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No. We can edit this.
Justin. Yeah,
We can edit this out, but this is a good one. And I think Christine is up for the challenge here.
Okay.
Risk taker and all. When I think of like, remember you, and I've asked Michelle this before too, in a training session one time, and I've asked clients this. I think one of the most important question we can ask ourselves is, who are you? Outside of the label, mom, wife, business owner, etc. How would you answer that question?
Ooh.
No.
Wow.
Or even don't even overthink it too much.
No,
Thinking.
there is no wrong answer.
Who am I?
And I don't think we ever get to the answer is my point.
Yeah. I feel like there are so many layers. I know your intro, you talked about peeling back layers, but I think, you know, I'm a farm girl from Iowa who traveled the world and came back to the Midwest and find a lot of joy in helping people. I would say that's a big part of who I am.
Awesome.
I love that.
Rapid fire.
Hold on. Are you sure?
Yes.
Is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Last try. Okay.
There might be another rapid fire question. We'll see.
Cut this mic. Let me get to these. This is my favorite part.
Okay.
These are just rapid fire questions. We're going to do actually just if you say truth or myth.
Okay.
But if you feel like you want to like break down or explain a little bit more, feel free to do that.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So you have to wait until retirement to sell your business.
Ooh, myth.
Only big businesses are worth buying.
Myth.
If your business isn't perfect, it won't sell.
Myth.
Business brokers are just salespeople.
Myth. We're matchmakers.
I love that so much. Okay, legacy only matters if you're leaving a family business.
Myth.
Women don't think about exits enough.
Myth. I think women think about a lot.
Oh, well, I was just an outlier. You have to figure it all out before talking to a broker.
No, my job is to help you understand options.
Got it. Most business owners know what their business is worth.
Myth.
Selling your business is always emotional.
Myth.
Okay. You can sell a business and still reinvent yourself.
Truth.
Yay. Okay, they weren't too intense.
No, not at all.
Oh, these are really great way to kind of wrap things up. And yeah, you were such a great guest. Thank you so much for coming, Christine.
Well, hold on. Let's tell how does our audience find you?
Yeah.
Oh, we are First Choice Business Brokers of Naperville. So you could Google that, or our website is naperville.fcbb.com. And you can go to our website. You can actually make like a appointment with me right on our website. There's no, commitment if you call. We can just talk. And, if you call me back in a year, I'd be glad. And if you don't, I'm still happy for you to understand your options. So, we also do free valuations. So if you are just interested in I need information in order to know what I want to do, I'm happy to help with evaluation or, refer you to people who could help you. But just figuring out where you are. So look me up, make an appointment with me. We can have a good conversation.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll put that in the show notes too.
Awesome. Well, any final thoughts, Justin?
Thank you.
I'm just teasing. Well, thank you so much for joining the Remember You podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time.